Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Waller's Wallet, and today we're going to be taking a look at airlines that offer around the world itineraries. And so there are quite a few airlines that do this. I'm going to break this into 3 different videos, breaking them down by their alliance. And this week, we're going to start with Star Alliance. And around the world itineraries can be a great way to get even more value from your miles. But they do come with rules, and they're not necessarily the most flexible of options. And just for some people, these types of tickets just don't make any sense. Unfortunately, not all airlines offer around the world tickets, but there are plenty of people who could benefit from these types of tickets. So let's take a look at these airlines that offer around the world trip itineraries using your points and miles. And starting off with ANA. ANA is probably one of the more popular options for around the world tickets using our points and miles. And rightfully so, because they offer a pretty great value for your points. And ANA's Around the World Award tickets is based on the total distance flown, and they're not just a flat rate. And this can definitely work in your favor if you're someone who can maximize your distance you're flying. Now, many people talk about the 125,000 point option for business class tickets for distances between 20,001 miles to 22,000 miles, and this is a pretty solid value for your points. But these tickets can top out at 200,000 points for coach and up to 300,000 points for business class. Now with ANA, you're allowed up to 8 stopovers with a maximum of 12 flight segments. ANA will limit you to 3 stopovers in Europe and 4 stopovers in Japan if you wanted to. Also, you're allowed up to 4 ground transfers. And if you choose to book an open jaw ticket, then ANA is going to charge you for 2 stopovers. But ANA is not going to count the distance between those airports towards your mileage totals. And some other rules for ANA's Around the World tickets: you must cross the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean once. Your travel must continue in one direction, either going east or west, and ANA says backtracking is not allowed. And the departing date from your intercontinental flight to your returning country must be at least 10 days after departing the first international flight on your itinerary. Now to earn ANA points, you can transfer points from membership reward points at a 1-to-1 ratio or even from Marriott at a 3-to-1 ratio. Now let's take a look at Aeroplan. Aeroplan offers around the world tickets, and for economy class, it'll cost you 200,000 Aeroplan miles. For premium economy, it'll cost you 250,000 Aeroplan miles. Business class will cost you 300,000 miles, and first class will set you back 400,000 miles. Now you do want to keep in mind that Aeroplan does pass on fuel surcharges, and depending on the airline you use, it's going to indicate the taxes and fees for your trip. Now you're allowed a maximum of 5 stopovers and 1 open jaw, and 1 stopover is permitted in any one city. This means that you can't go back to that city afterwards if you wanted to. And you must return to the country you started your around the world itinerary in, and you cannot go beyond that point of origin. For example, if you were to start your ticket in Dallas and headed east, you can't finish that itinerary in New York. Also, you must include 1 transatlantic and 1 Pacific flight in your itinerary as well. Now, in order to book an around the world ticket on Aeroplan, you will need to call Aeroplan to book your rewards. And earning Aeroplan miles is pretty easy since they partner with Membership Rewards, Capital One. They even have their own co-branded credit card from TD Bank. Now let's take a look at Singapore Airlines. Now you can book an around the world ticket using Singapore Airlines KrisFlyer miles for only 180,000 points in economy, 240,000 points in business class, and 360,000 miles in first class. Now you're allowed up to 7 stopovers for your trip, and Singapore Airlines does pass on fuel surcharges to their customers. So depending on the airlines you choose to fly for your ticket, the fuel surcharges could really add up fast for you. And you can have up to 16 segments for your around the world ticket, including open jaws. And you must travel in one direction, either east or west, and you can't backtrack. And you do need to finish your trip within 12 months of it starting. And once you start your trip, you are not allowed to make changes to your itinerary. Also, Singapore Airlines has a maximum of 35,000 miles in total distance traveled for their around the world itineraries. Now, in order to book your around the world ticket, you will need to call Singapore Airlines as well. And earning Singapore KrisFlyer miles is super easy because they're partners of Ultimate Rewards, Membership Rewards, City Thank You Point, HSBC, and even Venture Miles. And I think that's something you do need to keep in mind as you look at programs to attempt around the world itineraries. Now let's take a look at Lufthansa. Booking an around the world ticket using Lufthansa's Miles & More program will cost you 180,000 miles in economy, 325,000 miles in business class, and 480,000 miles in first class. And Lufthansa does pass on fuel surcharges as well to their customers, so it's something you do want to keep in mind. And the amount of taxes and fees that you're going to pay for your ticket are going to depend on which carriers you use for your around the world trip. And the miles and more around the world award tickets do come with the fuel rules. An around the world ticket includes one Atlantic and one Pacific Ocean crossing. A maximum of 10 flight segments with a max of 9 connecting flights is allowed. You must have at least 10 days between the start of your first intercontinental flight and the start of your last intercontinental flight. Your reward tickets are good for 12 months once they are issued to you, and you can have a maximum of 7 stopovers. You'll also need to book your around the world tickets over the phone as well. And earning Lufthansa miles and more points is probably one of the more difficult ones on this list, since you can earn points from their co-branded credit card or transferring points from Marriott at a 3-to-1 ratio. And when it comes to Star Alliance and their around the world tickets, in general, ANA is going to be towards the top of everyone's list. And that's because it offers some great value, especially if you can plan a trip to the maximum of distance allowed in a particular section in order to really maximize that benefit. And when searching award availability, I really recommend people use either United or ANA. But I think most people find United's interface just a little bit easier to use. You could even look using Aeroplan, but they've been known to have phantom availability in the past, so I'd use caution if you want to use Aeroplan to search for award availability. And when looking at these options, while ANA may offer the best value for your points and miles, their miles are a little bit harder to earn since they're more limited in their earning and transferring options. But Singapore Airlines, while it offers fewer stopovers and costs slightly more miles for an equivalent distance when compared to ANA awards, it's just so much easier to earn Singapore KrisFlyer miles that you're able to redeem for an around the world ticket. And ideally, you'll want to fly more direct routes since the number of connecting flights is quite limited. Unfortunately, all of these options do pass on fuel surcharges to their customers. But if you can really maximize the stopovers you're given with these programs, then it is still a great deal when you compare it to the actual cost of an around the world ticket. And while there are options to book your around the world tickets completely in first class award tickets are already more difficult to find to begin with. So while this option is there, it might not be the most realistic option for most people. So tell me, which Star Alliance partner do you think is the best when it comes to booking an around the world ticket? Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this week. If you liked this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, or if you know somebody who might benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And if you want to help support the channel, a simple way would be to use the links on our website or in the descriptions below. Remember, I post new videos every Thursday, so if you like learning about credit cards, points, miles, cashback, or just flat out traveling for less, consider the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you all next week. Safe travels and take care.